Hi everyone, cruise control and speed limiter. Do you use them? I'm going to do a little drive like a driving instructor video today on these. Not going to be a big long one. Reason being is, over the last number of months, the DVSA have, I think, been trying to push this to driving instructors on the ADI Part 2 test. I had probably about 3 or 4 months ago one of my training instructors go over to Huddersfield for a sooner test date because there's very limited tests still all around the country for driving instructor tests. And although it's something that I've always mentioned with driving instructors, and they should be on the Part 2 test, be demonstrating the use of cruise control, my training instructor shouldn't criticise, but the examiner said that they should be using it much more. So I think there's a little push from the DVSA to get people using these a little bit more. I rarely use cruise control. I mean that. I personally don't think there are many situations with the busyness of today's roads that cruise control becomes a viable option in its current form. And we're talking about adaptive cruise as well. I will explain as we go on a little further. So we're just going to have a little look at the basic controls. My controls are here on this side. It's the top section of buttons. The buttons at the bottom are volume, up and down, and mute. So we're not going to bother about these three. It's the ones at the top. We've got the speed limiter here at the bottom on the right hand side, and we've got the cruise control up at the top. And then the other controls operate the setting and the adjustment of the speeds. So what I'm going to do first of all, I'm going to get myself out around these parked cars. Do you notice there as well? It all goes back to cognitive load. You've got to recognise the situation out in front of you and know not to be faffing with any of these controls whilst you've got other stuff out there to do. The use of these should be done at what I call a lull. So I could put my limiter on now. It goes naturally to 20 miles an hour. I'm going to raise that to 30 because that's the speed limit that we're on. So maybe you could do this at a set of lights. But I've just got the issue with this fan. So what am I doing? I think that van's coming out. And you can spot it a mile off. So with that scenario, there may be, rarely, but there may be some scenarios where you might need a couple of extra miles an hour just to clear a problem. I'm not saying breaking the speed limit's right and the correct thing to do, but there are a couple of situations where that can happen. Most of the time, though, think about how I dealt with it. I recognised the issue, looked at the body language of the van, and was absolutely spot on in knowing that they just wanted to race ahead of the learner car. So I sussed that out and white flagged my space and went, yeah, I don't care. So perfect. But what I'm getting at is that the limiter may very well have limited my options just to maybe borrow a couple of miles an hour of speed just to fix a scenario. But most of the time, like I said, it's the speed reduction that can fix stuff. So speed limiter, I often use it. It's often on. I prefer it to the cruise control. And why? It's because, yes, you can make your progress and get up to the speed limit, but you can also reduce. So in everyday driving, speed limiter is, for me, the better option. I drove down to Southampton recently in my missus's car and literally stuck the speed limiter on. Yes, I did stick it to 72 on the car, which was exactly 70 on the GPS. But what it makes you do on a motorway, and we are going to pop onto the motorway, it makes you plan your overtakes. Whereas normally what people do, including myself in the past as well, is that you'll get to 72, 73, and then you'll be slightly catching another car, and then you'll be going, oh, 74, 75, and then you'll be catching someone else, and then you understand where I'm coming from. So it escalates. So the limiter for me gets you to plan your overtakes properly and actually think to yourself, is this actually worth it? So if you've got a limiter on your car, great, use it. To cancel the limiter, that easy. Does it cancel with that button? Yes, it does. And then I can press resume and it comes back to it. So it's not something that I often use, but that would be a quick and easy way to deal with that situation with the van that I had before. But as you can see, I've just really experimented with that and found out that's another option, and that's how you can control it. It's not something that would be my go-to to go faster. Notice the reason why I didn't sort of totally understand how that worked on this particular car is because it's not an option that I would often use. I've had this car, what, 18 months now, so there you go. I would always go to the back off. So I'm just going to get through the lights, and then I'm going to whack my limiter up to 40. I pressed and held the set button for a period of time. I didn't put it up individually, and if you've got a similar switch on your car, holding it can often increase the miles per hour in 5 miles per hour increments. No problem with that. Let's go and have a little drive on the motorway. In fact, I'm going to go the other way. We're going to have a little look at the other end of the M57, Switch Island. They're installing some speed cameras down at the other end of the M57, and I'm going to have a little look to see how maybe you can use a limiter or even cruise control, if it's applicable, to help you get down to these lower speeds. So change my mind, we'll head left. I have got my roof box on. I've been out this morning and had some training cancelled. No issues. So limiter, I'm going to cancel it all together. I'm going to build, and then I'm going to wait till I find the speed that I wish to go on. You don't want to be suddenly limited in a situation where you need to go. We were totally fine there. So, would I be happy here putting cruise control on? Let's have a go. There you go, set it at 60. No issues, quite happy with that. I often do that on certain sections of motorway as well. I just give my feet a little bit of a rest. But if you've got any risk that's approaching, any problems up ahead, try not to leave the cruise control on all the way to the point where you need the brake. Yes, the brake does disengage the cruise. However, try and use your cancel button, just allows you to back off, and then by all means press your resume button and it will go back up again. Okay, so I'm going to use cruise up here because the situation's quite light. I'm slightly catching these in front, which may be expected with there being lorries. So I'm just knocking it down just one at a time, and the car's just naturally just slowing down. Can do things in this way. We've got some 50 limits up ahead, so I'm just looking at the speed that we're at, I'm looking at the distance that we've got, and I'm just making sure I'm slowly and gradually bringing this down. If you had adaptive cruise, that would probably do all that for you, but I'm just cancelling this just because of this black one to the right hand side. I want to be in charge of where I position my vehicle, and that for me is one of the big problems with cruise control, even active, it will tag onto this blue Volkswagen in front and keep you at a good distance with that. But then it's going to sit you next to a big lorry this side. That ain't good. So that's generally why my preference is with the limiter. But there are certain situations where I will use cruise control. Active cruise control was an option on this car, didn't option it. My missus, we just got a new car for my missus. That actually wasn't a standard feature on it, and it was an option as well. But we didn't go for it there. So just goes to show my mindset and how I think about these systems. I have had, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of my cruise, I'm going to deal with this. And then I'm finding a little time, I know the speed limit is 40 on this section of road, and I'll find a little time while I'm doing nothing to then maybe prep the limiter. Like I said, I don't want to be faffing with these buttons while there's stuff around. And if you think back to the motorway, as soon as I saw the Audi in lane 2 start to brake, and I was potentially not going to be in a pocket of space, yeah, get rid of it. Operate the car yourself. So yeah, we'll put the limiter back on. I think I'm going to hold it and it jumps up in 5 miles an hour increments. There we go, at 40. I could maybe squeeze that up to 41 on my dashboard, and it would equate to about 40 here. My car's pretty close with the speed that it does and the actual speed. There's not much in it. Other vehicles are different. Obviously here, I'm not going past this lorry until I know they're definitely not coming back to the left. I'm just aware of this blue one as well, if I was honest. That's okay. All right, no issues with that. So again, reducing risk, pocket of space, going back to the reasoning why I don't generally like cruise, because it'll stick you next to people this side. Okay. What else? Cruise control. Why do the DVSA want to push this? Well, supposedly it's more fuel efficient. I get that, I understand that, but people do need to understand the issues with using cruise control in the wrong times or at the wrong times. I had my Tesla, most of you will remember that, autopilot system, very good. Did he use it? No. This Audi's likely to wish to come back as well, just because of the distance that they are with this van. So again, cruise control may very well have put me in a bigger danger there, and so would the autopilot system. I'm just aware of this van as well. Notice what I did again, pocket of space, held back a little bit longer till I knew that this van driver to our right wasn't going to come in. And cruise control systems are not clever enough to be able to deal with the side to side. So someone send this video to Mr. Musk and see whether he can do something about that. He seems to be pretty clever with certain technologies, but no one's really ever thought about that with a cruise control system. And if all cars were doing that and just changing where they were with people to the side, the roads would flow a lot better, and there would be a lower risk to everyone. Like here, I'm just going on the gas a little, just to be here. You all know that. It's all widely out there, staggered formation, pocket of space, no issues. So on your driving test, yes, the DVSA do allow you to use these systems, no problems. But try and make sure you're aware of the little bits that I've said about when to use it, when not to. Cognitive load when you are learning to drive is a big deal. I do get my students to use cruise control and limiters. I think I tend to push my students to a little bit higher level. I get them to manage their cognitive load as well, and because they will be doing exactly what I'm doing here and just keeping up with this van and having this space next to me, it stops this one from wanting to, gotta get past the learner, gotta get past the learner. But you've also got to be mindful of your space in front. Forgo that space. There you go, pocket of space works perfectly. Now, quite happy for this one to come past, and they want to come past. no issues. So I'm not doing it to try and get ahead, I'm doing it to be safe. Cruise control does not allow that. Speed limiters do. Got the little Peugeot far anyway, didn't it? Anyway. But yeah, on your test, by all means use them. Very good for lower speed limits as well. People think that cruise control is only for motorways. No, it's not. Speed limiters, cruise control, use them as and when you think risk is appropriate. So let's see what's going on with this. I'm just going to continue because traffic's fine. Where am I going to try and fit into it? Unfortunately, I was going to say unfortunately, it's near the Peugeot. You could see how triggered they were as well. Driver of the white BMW, exactly what you should do. Perfect. But notice my mindset there. I've already spotted the impatient one, and the impatient one is always the one that's going to be the one who closes space down. Simple as. So yeah, use it on test if you wish. 20 limits, particularly good. Speed limiter, perfect. Notice all the way down this road, haven't even mentioned it, haven't operated it, it's still stuck on the background at 40. No issues. It also, I think, if you're using speed limiters, it teaches you to be a little bit more aware of the speed limits. So you've got to look as you come around this corner to see if there are any speed limit changes. And I know that there are, but you're looking at the floor, get your eyes up, and here are the speed limit changes out in front of us. Some systems work with the speed limits or the speed limits. They're a sort of camera-based system. They will automatically update. Now, I'm just changing one to do this due to impatient arse that's behind us again. What am I going to do with the van? Should I charge through there because it's my priority? I keep on mentioning these things because I just like to show how ridiculous some of these mindsets and mentalities are that people instinctively use on the road. Is that a cycle area that they're putting to the left-hand side? Hope so. It's good, that. Well done. If it's a proper segregated one, Liverpool needs a few more of them. Okay. So, anything else about these systems? No. Use them in any scenario that you deem risk is low enough. That's cruise control. Limiters can be put on all the time. Do you use them in your car? Some people who even I'm training towards the part 2 test got in the car and I've asked them, do you ever use your cruise control speed limiter? No. Majority of the time though, these limiters and cruise control, they weren't on the cars that people of my sort of age, maybe even who are in the 30s now. Most of the time when people learn, even the people in the 30s, the car that they learnt in did not have a speed limiter or cruise control on. It's what it is. Embrace these new technologies, learn how to operate them. Just think, you wouldn't, 20 limit, perfect. Keep your eyes tuned in at junctions. Like I said, sometimes the higher spec cars, not even that nowadays, to be honest. Tell a lie, a lot of the speed limiter systems are actually controlled by the cameras and sides. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? The reason why I'm talking about this as well, I did a part 2 training session with someone the other day, and they had a 70 plate Focus, which was seeing the signs, can't park in here, though I thought those signs were rubbed off for a second. They're not. There's a little gap a bit further up we can get in. If not, I'm going to park in and we will have a little look at this. So yeah, when we get to this 30 sign, a lot of the camera systems now will adjust the limiter and allow me to go straight to 30. I'm going to see whether there's a setting on my car. have a look. Okay, so settings, vehicle, lighting, mirrors, locks, chimes, rear occupant. No, let's go back. Oh, it's on vehicle. Display, general. Let's have a look. No, nothing in there. General, display. No, not in that. Maybe my car hasn't got it, and it was an extra option on the vehicle that I was in. It surprises me though, with it being the ST. So another little look. Alarm systems, chimes, windows, wipers, lighting, the locks, mirrors, passenger airbag. No. Maybe it isn't. No, maybe it isn't. In any case, there are many vehicles nowadays which will pick up on the traffic signs and change things automatically. Cars from a little bit after when I got this, it is often stuff you've now got to turn off every single time that you get in the car. The speed limit warnings and the lane departure warnings, they will always reset once you get into the car and start it again. It can be a little bit of a pain in the backside, if I was honest, but I understand why they do have those systems. In any case, this scenario, the limiter on, is it restricting me at all to what I want to do? No, it is a 30 limit. We went past it before, so I'm just going to budge it up again at a time when nothing was going on. But notice here, even when there's a lot going on and potentially could go on, the limiter is not restricting me. I'm still in charge, I'm still in control, but it just sort of like keeps the lid on speed. There is a negative to this though, which I'm going to quickly talk about before I finish, and it's a skill that people struggle with on many, or in many different scenarios. It's listening. I hear so many instructors as well, poor instructing, watch your speedo. No. Listen to it. You can hear whether it's building or dropping. Doesn't matter whether it's in an electric car, doesn't matter whether it's in a petrol car or a diesel car, you can hear the road speed. That's often why you'll find people on motorways who will be doing 60 uphill and 75, 80 down the hill, because they just keep their foot in one position. And the speed limiter or cruise control, again, dulls down that skill that we need to listen to our car. Our cars are our mates. Think of them like that. The engine, we've got to keep it happy. And you can manage your speed massively just by listening. I've done videos before on covering the speedo. And that forces my learners to actually use their ears a little bit more. There was one ADI that I did it with on some training, and he said to me, Ash, your car's suddenly got louder. And that really sums it up. Cruise control and limiters, they do stop that link, if you like, between right foot and listening and managing speed. And I've found when people do use these devices too much, then when they get in another vehicle that hasn't got a limiter or cruise control, their speed management isn't brilliant. So just be mindful of that. Don't always use it, don't never use it. Use it at a time that suits, but keep your skill set high. In the same way, although planes nowadays can land themselves virtually with just a touch of a button, pilots on occasions will still land the plane manually. And it's the same process with this. Don't get so automated so that you reduce your level of skill. Keep practicing. I'm always doing it. Thanks a lot for watching. Hopefully that was helpful. Let us know in the comments which you prefer, limiter, cruise control. In fact, what I'm going to do when I get in, I'm going to go and put a poll on my community post, which you would have seen well before this video comes out. I'm currently about a month ahead. Sometimes I try and get a little bit further than that, but this video is probably going to be out in April sometime with where I'm at with my scheduling. But I'm going to put the poll out, and we'll have a little look at the results of the poll. What do you use? Cruise control, limiter, both, or none? And we'll see where people lie with that one. Thanks so much for your support. Keep safe out there, and I will see you all soon. Be good.